let's talk about where power comes from. Power comes from. So power comes from the pivot. Everything is generated from the ground up in boxing, even though it just looks like your hands. If you've never boxed before and you're watching something, everything comes from the ground up. So when we pivot, and this comes back to the balance as well, we'll come back to the balance with the pivot. When we pivot, we're rotating on that ball with the left foot. As that, I'm pointing down here. It's not what you want to do if you're following this video. I'm just showing you to emphasize what I'm pointing at. Pivot in the ball of foot. Okay, that power comes up your thigh. Okay, as your hip is almost all the way turned over, this is when you start beginning throwing whatever punch it is. So in this case, it's the jab. So my jab comes out like a hammer, over like a corkscrew, comes back in. And again, I'm checking my balance, okay? And then I step, okay? So pivot, power comes up my hip is almost turned over, my hand comes out like a nice solid hammer. You make a tight, tight fist, no floppy wrists, okay? Because that's how you can injure yourself. And your thumb is always locked over the fingers of your hand. Comes out like a hammer, over like a corkscrew. Now I turn my punches, it's just from years of training. But that's for another video. But you want to hit with your two big knuckles. And I say to people who've ever like played video games or shot a gun in real life at a gun range, you want to look down that line of sight. You can see here. And what you've done now is you've transferred that power all the way to the end of your jab. And as your jab's coming back, okay, my right hand is already on my face here. And again, check my balance here, okay? So let's do that here until the 1330. So we're gonna step, plant, pivot, punch with that jab, okay? And bring that jab back to your face. The other hand's nice and solid on your right side of your jaw, because the number one rule in boxing is protect yourself at all times. The step, plant, pivot, jab. Checking my balance. So my jab is my left hand. My weight solidly on my right side, so I'm nice and balanced and ready to react, okay? Bring that hand back. We have another 20 seconds here. Step, plant, pivot, jab or punch. And back into the face. Step, plant, pivot, punch. Back into the face. One more. Again, nice and slow. Step, plant, pivot, right over. Awesome. Okay, well done. All right, so now, like I said, protect yourself at all times with that right hand. Now we're gonna put it together here with the straight right. I'm gonna put it together with the straight right. Okay, so we've stepped, we've planted, we've pivoted, we threw our jab, and our right hand is here, right solid back of our face. Our left side of our body is turning, rotating into the right side of our body, and our weight is solidly on the right. Okay, let me show you sideways. Okay, so you see it. So you're here, step, plant, pivot, jab, nice and solid here. Okay, you can see my body is protected by my elbow tucked in nice and tight, and my weight is nice and solid on my right hand. I'm looking right down that line of sight. Okay, now I bring that hand back in, okay? And as that left jab comes back in, my straight right comes right out, back in, okay? Now, let me show you here, okay? Straightforward boot. Comes out, step, plant, pivot, jab. As that jab comes back into the face, I'm rotating my one hip from the other hip, right out. And that's my straight right, that's my power hand, okay? Comes back in. So what we're gonna do, really slow again, because we're reviewing the fundamentals, making sure that we're getting our perfect practice down, because perfect practice makes perfect, not perfect practice makes perfect. Okay, so we're gonna here, pivot, okay, planted our foot, pivot our foot. As that pivot comes over, hand comes out like a jab, towards the nose, comes back in. Checking that balance, right back, step, okay? So jab comes out, over, as that jab comes back, pivot in that right foot, put our weight as hard as we can into that left, and out, and back in, okay? Stepping, checking our balance, moving around a little bit of a square, because it's always your feet, footwork, and that is the foundation of everything in boxing, okay? So we're gonna plant my foot, comes out, pivot, punch. As that jab comes back, straight right, right over, okay? And to help you, give you a good visual, because some people are really visual people, I definitely know I am. You wanna imagine there's a pole just to help the rotation of your hips and body, because the pivot and the rotation is the power. You wanna imagine there's a pole right down the middle of your head, okay? You wanna imagine there's a pole right down the middle of your head, and that you are rotating each of your punch around the pole, so that way you stay grounded and centered each time you're planting. And this is why you want to do it slow at first, because it's often the coordination with the footwork that people get fooled up first with. Okay, so we're here, step, plant, hand comes out, jab, turn that jab over. As that jab's coming back to our face, feel it on our face and our straight right, and bringing that right hand back to our face. Step, okay, step, plant, pivot, punch, jab comes back to the face, straight right, okay, and that comes back in, and I'm checking my balance. I'm back to the center, moving around, okay? So I'm gonna pick it up a little bit here. We're gonna do this consistently now until the 8, okay? So plant, pivot, feeling my hand here, step, plant, pivot, feeling my other hand here, because I'm protecting myself at all times, bringing it back, checking my balance, okay, plant, pivot, step, plant, pivot, back to the face, okay. Checking my balance, keeping my chin tucked, keeping my hands right up, okay. And to be honest with yourself, okay, if you've even got a coach that you're working with, but you're wanting to learn this, film yourself and then compare it to these principles on the video, right? There's times in my life where I haven't had a coach who could spend one-on-one time with me, or I can align the time in that to work with them, because I mean, that's life. So I would often film myself and look at my technique, because technique trumps speed at first. Okay, so we got 15 more seconds. So clip, comes back, checking the balance, moving to the right, comes back to my face, checking the balance, moving to my left, back to the face, protect myself at all times. Okay, move back. And moving forwards. Okay, now I'm going to follow that little pattern here, a little bit of square. Okay. Awesome. I'm going to step back. Hands are here, elbows are tucked in. Sometimes my elbows flare out, and that's just bad habits because I haven't been fighting or boxing competitively for the last 8 years. Out. Out. Nice. Awesome. Well done. Well done. Okay. So that is the beginner boxing 3 things for the foundation. Okay. Now, there's 4 more punches left in boxing. There's the left hook, the right hook, the left uppercut, and the right uppercut. Now, these are all if you're orthodox. Okay. Or in number system, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So I'm gonna work on show you those briefly here. Do the same little pattern, a little to the right, a little to the left, a little forwards, a little backwards, always checking the foundation of balance. And I'm looking at myself, looking at you in the video. Okay, so our 3 is our left hook. Okay, so we've checked that balance. We've got that center of our body sitting into it. Okay, sitting into it. So the hook, okay, is, I like to say, give the visual, it's like throwing a Batman cape from the left side of your face to the right side of your face. So you're here, comes out, turn it over, goes from the left side of your face to the other side of your face, and then back, okay? So that's your left hook. So you pivoted, turn your left hip over to your right side, check your balance on your right, hand comes out, okay? It's like starting like a hammer, but then it turns over. This elbow needs to be in alignment with this shoulder from one side of your face to the other side of your face. Now, if you notice, as I'm coming across, I go all the way down. This is a competitive thing, okay? Meaning we're throwing our power all the way from one side to another, okay? Following through with the punch, okay? Not shortening your punches. So You don't have to worry about that as much recreationally, but it is great because the more power you put into something, once you have the technique down, the more you are developing those thin striation lines in your body along with nutrition. Okay, so this hand comes out, tight fist. Remember, putting your thumb up over top of your fingers, thumb up over top of your fingers. Okay, comes out from one side of your face to the other. This shoulder protects your jaw as it's coming across. And then as you're bringing it back in, tucking those elbows in. So the elbow, if you can see, is really in alignment with that hip from one side to the other, okay? So that's the left hook. Now, the right hook comes out, similar thing, out like a hammer, but then it comes over, nice solid L position, hook position, okay? Elbows in alignment with the shoulder, okay? Nice tight fist from one side of the face to the other side of the face. And I'm always looking down that kind of brow. I'm not looking down at the floor, okay? I'm not looking right up because that doesn't protect the jaw. I'm looking down that brow, okay? So we're here, that 3, left hook, 4, right hook. Remember, okay, review it a little bit more here, slow it down just a little bit more for you. So as this hook comes out, the other hand's nice and solid on my face, okay? Because protect yourself at all times. Rotate it. And as that hook comes back in towards my left side, my right hand comes out, side of the face, and then back, and then I step. So 3, left hook, 4, right hook, and I step. Okay, 30 more seconds. 3, 4, and I step. Okay, checking the balance. I'm gonna go 3, 4, step back, right foot goes first, left foot follows. 3, 4, step forwards, left foot goes first, right foot follows. 3, 4, and I'm gonna go left foot goes first, right foot follows. 3, 4, I'm gonna go right, and one more. 3, 4. Awesome! You did it! Woo-hoo. Okay, now, left uppercut, right uppercut, left uppercut, right uppercut. Okay, uppercuts can be, well, all your 3, 4s and your 5, 6s, your left hooks, right hooks, left uppercuts, right uppercuts can be both short and long. But again, that's a little bit more intermediate. After about 3 months of solid boxing, then you move into a little bit more intricacies like that. Okay. So our left uppercut, I'm going to show you from the side. So it's like solid fist, like a shovel. Okay. I like to say to people, we're not John Wayne. Okay, for those of you a little older, those of you younger, he was a really popular Western dude in the 50s and 60s. Okay, but for visual sake, we're not pulling our gun from our holster. Okay, we're shifting our weight, and when we throw our uppercuts, it comes from the hip, from the bottom of the jaw to the top of the head to start. So it's here from the side. This is our 5. We're pivoting and going from the bottom of the jaw to the top of the head, or 6. Okay. Sorry, or 5. So 5, step, okay, pivot. I mean, that tight fist, just drop it a little bit before, drop it a little bit below the jaw to the top of the head and back, okay? 5, slow it down just a little bit, okay? Shifting my weight to my left side, okay? Because uppercuts, you're always shifting a little bit more with uppercuts because they're tighter, smaller inside type punches, okay? Pivot, bottom of the jaw, top of the head. So we're here with that nice solid L position, shovel position in your arm. Notice how my forearm's nice and tight fist. Bottom of the jaw to the top of the head. 5, bottom of the jaw to the top of the head, and my right hand's right here. 5, bottom of the jaw to the top of the head. Okay. Now our 6, right uppercut, same thing with pivot, hand, nice tight fist. Bottom of the jaw to the top of the head. Okay, we step. 6, step. 6, step. 6. Slow down just a little bit here. Okay, bottom of the jaw to the top of the head. Okay, now let's put it together. So we're here, left uppercut, bottom of the jaw to the top of the head. Put my weight at my right side. Bring this hand back in. Pivot in this hand. Bottom of the jaw, top of the head. Bring that back in. Okay, 5, 6, nice and slow at first. 5, 6, rotating. Okay, tight fist in each punch. 5, 6, always focusing on the bottom up first, pivot first. 5, 6, few more. 5, 6. You got it, keeping that chin tucked in, looking down that line of sight. 5, 6. One more thing with the uppercuts. Remember, you're always punching up and out, not in, okay? Up and out, because you're thinking about focusing on where your opponent is, where you're hitting them. Even if you're not necessarily hitting them, you're just hitting a heavy bag. It's always up and out. That's your 5, 6. Okay. Awesome job.